Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Black Moon Astro. This is Meg. Today's video is going to be about Saturn's transit in the second house in Aquarius. In my last video, I did Saturn in the second house. And if you want to understand Saturn more and Aquarius as archetypes, I would recommend you watch the video also on the link below called Saturn the Archetype. I go really in depth into Saturn because Saturn is one of the most complex, if not the most complex archetype in astrology. And so for you to really understand how this is going to affect your life, I would recommend that you listen to that video because Saturn, together with the outer planets, starting from Jupiter all the way up to Pluto, have the most impactful effects in our lives compared to the planets that are closer to Earth. And the reason for that is because its transit lasts much longer and therefore has more time to build up its energies. And so we feel these effects more long term. Whereas the transits that happen with planets that are closer to Earth, like Mercury retrograde, you know that, you've heard this many times before, these can affect us. We feel the effects of the inner planets, but they don't last so long and they don't create life-changing events. So planets like Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Pluto, Neptune, these planets, when they transit our lives, they stay there for a long time and therefore make profound changes. So Saturn is the planet of longevity. Anything that happens within this transit in that specific house in your chart and what that house relates to is where you're going to start to build the foundation of a solid structure that is going to be a part of your life for a long time. It all depends, of course, on how your chart is, your personal natal chart, and what it aspects, and there's so many other things to look at. But for this video, we're just going to look at Saturn transit in your third house in Aquarius, which is still going to give you a general idea of what kind of energies you are going to feel in this part of your life. Saturn in the third house, as I've already mentioned, whatever houses Saturn touches in your chart, it's going to refine it, going to improve it, upgrade it. In the third house, what it does is it's going to make changes in the part of your life that involves your thinking, your mind, communication, transportation, like short distance travel, your car, technology, neighborhood, your siblings, how you process information, your perspectives, your opinions, the words you speak. Under Saturn, all of these are going to be surveyed, probed, and audited to make sure that everything is functioning well. Saturn likes to put things in order, and Saturn likes everything to be efficient. So if nothing is working out, then Saturn is going to create issues with any of the things I mentioned, with siblings, with neighbors, with computers, your car, any form of transportation. Also, the way you communicate, you need to watch your words during this time. Be careful of how you express yourself. Think first before you open your mouth is something that Saturn will ask you to do. You have to remember, Saturn takes the perspective of the CEO or the wise man or the father. So Saturn knows best is how this planet operates. So when it sees that, for instance, your car's not working well or you've not been taking care of your car and you need a new one, then your car is going to break down. So you can replace it, upgrade it, modify it, change it, buy a new one, save up for a new one that would last a longer time, get something better and refine it. So you may not like what Saturn is going to do, and it's usually the case because it's going to cause some issues and perhaps chaos if you're not in good terms with your neighbors, then things can escalate, things can get worse. So you got to watch your words and how you speak to people. So you create and define yourself in a different way through the way you communicate or how you allow others to communicate with you. You might have to be setting boundaries too. Saturn upholds values such as integrity, truth. So when you speak truthfully and with integrity. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. You got to be matured and responsible. Saturn also asks this of you, of us. So there are many things that are going to happen in these aspects of your life. If you buy a new car, certainly if you buy it at this time, that car is going to last you many years. Same with a computer. Same with all the decisions that you're going to make, because it also affects your thinking and your mind. Your opinions may change, and these are going to be opinions that you're going to hold on to for a long time. Perspectives and even contracts. When you read contracts, when you sign documents, read them very carefully. Make sure everything is correct before you sign it. Saturn is going to make you see things for what they are. When Saturn transits a house, it's time to get real. It's a no BS planet. You see situations for exactly what they are, not what you hope for, and not what you think it is. And when you are able to identify the things in your life that you can change or must change, then Saturn is going to give you a helping hand when it comes to solidifying your plans, coming up with a strategy and a clear path to make the changes that you need to change. So Saturn isn't really always bad. Like I've said many times, it all depends on your personal natal chart, what aspect Saturn has with other planets, and so many other things that we look at to determine how a transit is going to affect you individually. But this is a general idea of what Saturn is going to do for you in the third house. Just remember that there is a build-up point from the time Saturn enters Aquarius. It is now at 1 degree. It started at 0, it's at 1 degree. It moves between 0 to 8 minutes per day. If you count evenly with 29-30 degrees, it takes about a month in a degree. This is just a rough calculation. You gotta really watch the transits and how Saturn is moving to get really specific, or you can consult an astrologer for that. But the build-up point begins from when Saturn enters Aquarius up until you gotta look at the degree of the cusp of Aquarius on your chart. So if Aquarius is at 4 degrees or 17 degrees, so if it's at 0 degrees, then you're lucky. And if it's at 4 degrees, then you don't have that much time for that build-up. And usually the build-up period, when Saturn moves from 0 to 4 degrees, which is your cusp, is when all the frustrations happen and all the things starts to feel as if nothing's going right and nothing's happening. You're not seeing any results. You're trying your best to make the changes that need to change, and it's not happening for you. And by the time it reaches the exact degree of your cusp, that's when everything explodes. And whether it's good or bad, usually there are issues. I'm not going to lie to you. Saturn is called the greater malefic because there are always a lot of hard lessons and karmic lessons to learn from this planet. So whenever it hits that exact degree, that's when everything happens, and you're going to see things get destroyed, get removed out of your life. You're going to lose things or have to change, make major changes, long-term changes, and it's not always good. And then after that, it starts to taper off up until the end of the transit. 2.5 years is the transit of Saturn per sign. So You're just going to have to wait it out. Either you reap the good rewards, and the good rewards are lessons that you've learned that you will carry with you for a long time, that are going to serve you. You've just upgraded your third house. You're done with your first house, your second house, your third house. This is like a general cleaning of all the houses. When you're done with the third house, Saturn has refined your first, second, and third. Now you're ready to move on to the next. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about Saturn transit in the fourth house in Aquarius. If you like my content, please don't forget to like and subscribe below. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.